What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lineman Life podcast. I am your observant lineman, Uche Nwaneri. Appreciate everybody for coming in to check out the stream today. We're going to be talking, a bunch of different things. As you guys know, I go through a gamut of different topics I like to talk about in the sporting world. And every now and again, I'll drop in a nice football story for everybody's entertainment. But today I have a very special guest. This guy, I'm a huge fan of his channel. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's doing an amazing job. His videos are some of the most hilarious yet informative videos you'll find on all four of the major sports in YouTube world. It is a very great honor for me to have on here today, Urinating Tree. Welcome to the podcast, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Man, so Urinating Tree. I would like to know where that originated from. I found that to be really weird.
Question. Yeah. I completely understand that. It was me playing Xbox Live when I was 15. Literally, yeah, okay. I'm just sitting there thinking, what would be a good name? Urinating Tree. So it's like me trying to be an edgelord, yet thinking it was funny at the same time. So that's where the name came from, and it just stuck. I don't know why it's stuck. It's just like, it's memorable. Like, I don't know if it's going to get like.
Dude, I was like, when I first saw your channel, I was reading into it like heavy. I'm like, there's got to be some kind of meaning behind what Urinating Tree is. Maybe it's something, I think you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with Pittsburgh because the logo's yellow and black. I mean, maybe there's something to do with the Steelers that there's some kind of inside joke maybe he had as to why it was Urinating Tree. But now I know that it was a gamer tag. You thought you were being cool and it stuck. And I can appreciate that. I have the same gamer tag across all platforms. And
you want to get a gamer tag that's at least, memorable. Like probably, if I got Xbox Live or PlayStation Now, somebody probably has the name and I'll have to change it up. But I mean,
yeah. Hey man, it's all good. I mean, that's really, that's part of the fun of it, especially, in college, younger kid, you think you're coming up with something cool. I know how it is.
When you're 15, 16. Oh yeah. You think you're hot shit.
Yeah. You think you're hot shit. You think you can come up with every cool idea there is. And hey, but it stuck, and now you're a brand. You're a brand. You have 400,000 subscribers, dude. And
as I said, dude, if you were to tell me 4 years ago, this was before I started getting back into YouTube. I was waiting tables, I was getting fucked over in a job, and I'm just sitting there okay. I mean, I need a creative release, so that's where I kind of came back into this. But if you were to tell me that back then, okay, you're not only going to get $400,000 subscribers. I mean, I wish I had $400,000 on me, but that you would only get that. You get a following, you'd have a brand, you'd get out of waiting tables, and you'd have more upside than you ever would in your life. I would have slapped you right in the damn face.
Hey, man,
exactly.
It's something that can be unexpected, right? But I've seen, I've been on YouTube now for a year, and I've seen people who have had channels that, were minuscule, didn't really have much of anything going for it, or were new and just kind of finding their way. And then they drop one video that catches fire and, they ride that wave. And before you know it, they've got 50,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, 150,000 subscribers. And it can happen that quick. And I mean, certainly, you could probably think in your head of a point where there was a couple of videos that just kind of sent you into that, into that zone where you were just getting flooded with new subs, flooded with views.
First one for me was the Haters Guide to the 2017 NFL Playoffs. That one was more of an experiment to me. Because I had done a couple of videos beforehand, but I was more doing them as creative release. I didn't think it was really going to go anywhere. Just more as a passion project. I was making a bunch of other random stuff at the time too.
Yeah.
But I was thinking you know what? Why don't I do something on the playoffs? Maybe I'll get a couple hundred views or something. Maybe a couple people yell at me that I suck, but you know what? I wanted to do it. So what ended up happening was that I woke up one morning. I think I was at about 600 subscribers at the time, I think. I wake up the next morning. I see it at 700. I jumped 100 in a day. I'm like, wait, what?
Wow.
I thought, am I reading that right?
Wow.
And then I'm like getting all these random views. Like my other videos would only get like a couple hundred. This was getting like, couple thousand, maybe 10,000, which was huge for me at the time.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like, holy shit, like what? And then like I'm just like, wait, people like this shit? Okay. So I figured, you know what? Okay, maybe that's a fluke. So I'll do one on the Super Bowl. That one ended up getting even more traction. And I'm sitting there like, okay, there's something here. Like, I don't know what it is, but I got to keep digging. It was like, do you remember that scene in like Saving Private Ryan where you like randomly like leans against the wall and they end up like finding like an entire encampment of
collapses?
That's what it honestly felt like. I'm just like, wait, what the hell?
Turn around. Oh my God.
Like, oh shit, look.
A following.
Yes, that's pretty much what it was.
It's
like it wasn't even like I wish I had the story of like, oh, I had these massive plans and I did it all like and like I thought this was gonna happen. Like, no, I drunkenly stumbled into it. That's pretty much all it is.
It's crazy because I've had a couple of videos where they just hit out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
the algorithm is weird, man.
It's weird because I literally threw a video together in 5 minutes. It was when OBJ, it appeared that OBJ had been choked out on the field by Humphreys in Baltimore. That was last season. And I mean, I literally just did a video that was maybe like 3.5 minutes long. I was just laughing and making fun of it for like a minute.
People love that shit.
And a half. And that was basically it. And I just kind of like, shut the video, uploaded the video, kept moving. And I went and checked back on it like later on that evening. And it was at like almost 20,000. And I was like,
yeah, exactly. Like the algorithm is weird. Sometimes it doesn't click. Sometimes it does.
And then I look at a video like my sports ball, which I stole. I kind of lightweight was inspired by you.
Don't worry about it, man. As long as you're not stealing script or material, you're fine.
Well, it's in the same light as what you do. It's just like a kind of overview of the bigger. Well, yours is still more detailed than mine, but I go over the kind of the big ones that I want to talk about.
Oh yeah,
and I go through it, and I kind of try to be sarcastic because I am a sarcastic motherfucker. But I spent literally yesterday. I spent 6 hours putting that video together. That was barely over 10 minutes because I wanted to be thorough and be and put it do it the right way, right transitions, sound effects, video clips. That video's got like 100 views.
Yeah, I know how it is. Like it's weird.
And I'm like sitting here like, I'm verified, damn it. Give me mine. Give me mine.
It's YouTube, man. Like it's strange.
Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to YouTube.
YouTube is like 5 points. Vince will tell you the same thing. Like he'll get ones where he thinks like he puts all this effort and time into only get like 10,000 views, and he's like 150, 200,000 subscriber guy, and then he'll have these random ones that like he doesn't think it like puts like an hour or two into, does nothing. He'll get like 2-3 million views on it. It's like it's YouTube, man.
I put no time into one video. I mean, I was like, oh, this might be a little embarrassing because I didn't edit it really. And I'm stuttering and then just laughing and going back and forth. Boom, it hits. But this video, I've had exquisite editing, exquisite transition. Yeah. I'm paying $60 a month for that damn website that gives me all these different transitions and graphics. And I mean, I've learned to use Premiere Pro and Photoshop like a champ now. I can do anything on them. And I took my time, took an entire day damn near to do this video. Nothing. So I'm like, you know what?
Every time, dude. Every time.
Can't get mad at it. I know one thing that's been big to me has just been the connections I've made with people in different communities in YouTube. That to me has been really valuable.
Exactly. Same thing with me. Like I didn't expect to have like all of this too. Like, I mean.
Yeah. Working on, completely setting up an office to look like a little spot to do.
I mean, mine needs a little more work. The soundproofing's starting to fall apart, unfortunately. But I only got a little bit of the way through mine. It's just going above the door, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I bought too much soundproofing, and I just figure might as well put it on the wall.
Said, let me stuff some memorabilia in here to absorb sound because
nothing wrong with that, man.
You know what I mean? So
I used to record in a open basement with like a bunch of like echo and reverb.
Yeah.
So like, because it was like the only place that was really safe where I could do it.
And then you know, when you're like, I started a year ago, so you know, I thought I knew what I was doing, and you know, I slowly began to learn through the comment section how I was screwing up my videos. Like, your sound is too low, your sound is too high,
dude. Every time, man, you make one typo, you'll have at least 200 people bitching about it.
Oh, it's like you forgot to edit out the one part. You redid it like 3 times. Why didn't you edit it out? I'm like,
it's like I remember like accidentally like saying instead of when, I said Juan, and literally 250 people just say Juan. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. I mean,
I mispronounced the dude's name. Like there I remember one time I think I had mentioned what was another one? There was another one that recently happened, but I forget what it was. But like literally, you will get like people hounding you for it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's crazy because I went to I was watching the Dreamcast guy. I think that's the name of his channel. You know, I love retro video game talk because it just brings back that nostalgia.
Oh, yeah.
I'm watching his video. He's talking about, you know, the differences between the Xbox, the Series X and the PS5. And towards the end, he didn't edit out his retakes on his ending. So like he redid it 3 times. It wasn't like he was just screwing up. He just started, stopped, gave it a quick second, restarted, stopped, gave it a quick second. And then he went through it and, you know, he finished it just fine on his like 3rd attempt.
Yeah.
And I was like, feels good to know it's not just me.
It always happens, dude. Sometimes you're like in a little bit of a rush at the end. You want to get it out. It takes the time to render. So you're just sitting there like, oh God, okay, let's get this done. Is it done? Good. Okay, render. And then you sit there for about half hour to an hour and wait for it to render. Even if you have like a beast of a computer, it takes a while. Yeah,
it takes a little while to render. He uploaded it, and you know, and I left a comment. Hey, man, I love your channel, and it's good to know that I'm not the only one who has screwed up and put up a video that had multiple takes on one like sentence that I couldn't get out of my freaking mouth. But it's awesome to see that, and it, you know, and I think that's, you know, that just shows that, hey, you know, he's putting in the work. He's trying to make sure he gets it right. And of course, the most liked fucking comment was, yeah, and let me know what you guys think. And let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Which, I mean, I laughed at it. I was like, yeah, that's how they gonna get you when you do that. When you do that, they're gonna get
every time. So you honestly just have to run with it. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I think that's, you know, one of the things, because I don't have a problem speaking to a camera or speaking to an audience. I don't necessarily use scripts or you know, I do it when I'm doing my narrative, like where I'm narrating over footage. But if I'm just you know, putting up a video where I'm just, you know, talking to the audience, I don't use a script. I just think about what I want to talk about. I go through it. I talk about it like I'm talking to somebody I'm hanging out with. And, you know, yeah, there'll be times when I do retakes and I edit those and I try to be smooth with it. But, you know, I just go with it. And it's just, you know, I try to have a good time with it. And, you know, I don't take it too serious, but I do try to get perspective because a lot of people expect some perspective from a guy who played in the NFL. Well, I can give you a little bit of perspective, but I'd rather give you a great story. So
I think people want stories, honestly.
Yeah.
Stories are what drive the views. Stories are what drives the narratives, man. People love stories.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about football. That's something that I'm sure a lot of people are here to kind of hear us talk about some stuff like, you know, some stuff in the football world. It's Tua time in Miami. Everybody, I was surprised by that too. And I've been kind of holding my opinion on it because I wanted us to get on here and talk about it. You know, I've seen this kind of thing happen before in the NFL. And personally, I think it's a terrible decision by Miami.
I think they should have let him sit and like heal up his hip and also marinate in the playbook for another year. I mean, look at what Kansas City did with Mahomes. I mean, Buffalo tried doing that with Josh Allen for a good bit. Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. I think what Miami is seeing right now is that Fitzpatrick is more like a placeholder, but he's okay. Like, you're not really going to
do enough job. He's doing a good enough job to be competitive and to give them a shot.
Mm-hmm. I think what the problem is, they're seeing what Joe Burrow's trying to do with the Bengals. I mean, unfortunately, he doesn't have a line, but he's showing promise. They're seeing what Justin Herbert's doing with the Chargers.
Oh,
that's
Justin
the
Herbert
problem.
Is
Justin Herbert's just like slinging a football 70 yards with ease.
He's just
like, I had doubts about him coming out of college, because Oregon quarterback, they have huge issues always developing at the NFL level. He had like accuracy problems, but holy shit, that dude can throw a football.
Hey, I'll be honest. All of the rookie young quarterbacks, first or second year quarterbacks that I've seen in this season, I mean, his natural ability as a quarterback is he has it. He has natural quarterback playmaking ability. I watched him against Tampa Bay make a couple of throws where it was like you don't have your feet set. You're kind of moving backwards. Yep. You're like kind of it's
effortless.
An arm on a lineman and kind of hopping into your throw to try and avoid pressure. And he was on the money. I was like, and the throw looked nice. It had nice velocity, nice air under it. He is, he's going to be a star. Now with Tua, I really think you got to let him sit this year. I mean, I don't know what happened to the age of quarterback where you sat them down. Like you're investing the franchise in this dude. So why not sit him down, let him learn the league? Because a lot of times players don't learn the league to the point where you can let them kind of swim on their own until the second or third year. That's when the light comes on, because you get past the playbook first, then you get on the field and you figure out that the playbook shit is not the same as on the field. It's a little bit different. And then you start to find how what the playbook is telling you to do is just the structure of it. When you get on the field, you make it your own. You make it your own style. You make it your own feel. And the players, as a quarterback, the players around you will adapt to that, and they'll learn they'll learn your feel for the game and how you play it, rather than what the lines and the X's and the O's say, because those are always going to just point at distinct things that you have to do. But you do them with your own style. And for me, as a lineman, I mean, I got thrown to the wolves my second year because of injuries, and it was I held my own, but it was clear that I really didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just kicking my feet as hard as I could. I had the athletic ability. I had the arm length, the strength. So unless I was dealing with guys who were like big, vets, like well known, like one of the guys, and I always attribute him to my growth as a lineman, was me having to play against Albert Haynesworth 2 times a year, every year, my entire career. Even when he left Tennessee, all of us all of the old linemen in Jacksonville, we were like, oh, thank God. Thank God.
I couldn't blame him. I mean, that was beast Albert Haynesworth. That was before he got his money.
Contract your Haynesworth.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
So, dude, oh my God, dude, I will never forget it. It was 2008, 2009 season. And, I was the swing man. So I covered for all 3 interior positions. And this was, ESPN picked us to win the Super Bowl this year. So we came into this game in Tennessee, like ready to handle business. Before we finished pregame warmups, our right guard tore his tricep.
Oh.
So he got they actually slid. What did they do? No, I went in at right guard on the second play of the game, because he tore it, but they tried to see if he could go. He went one play, came right off the field.
Yeah.
So I went in at right guard, dude, and I was just like, damn, I wish I would have studied a little bit more on the playbook. I wasn't expecting this. So I'm out there, dude, just battling. I'm just battling based on the basics that I know about what plays we call. If you do any kind of extra shit, you're going to get me, because all that game stuff I wasn't ready for yet at that point. I was a second-year player. I was at right guard. I actually got hurt. Javon Curse slammed his knee into my knee, sprained my MCL. Yeah, Javon Curse and what's his name? Kyle Vanderbosch. Those were the 2 guys.
Those were some quality linemen too.
Yeah. So So I'm like literally, I get hurt. I come out of the game. We're down to our last O lineman who comes in for me, who's like the last backup. And, we get this is probably right before or probably first part of the second quarter. So I'm out the rest of the second quarter. We go into halftime. They bring me into the back room. They put a knee sleeve on me. I'm like, yo, like when I move my leg back and forth, it's just a bunch of clicking and pain. What do y'all mean? Like put a knee sleeve on them and go outside and warm up on the bike. So I'm like,
I don't know. It pretty much feels like when in doubt, just give them some painkillers.
Yeah.
Deal with it on Monday.
And this is the shit that was crazy. I'm sitting on the bench. I warmed up on the bike. Everybody's still inside for halftime, and I go out a few minutes early to warm up on the bike. And I sit on the bench where the O-line is after I get done warming up a little bit. And the team doctor comes over to me, right? And he sits next to me and he looks at me with that little look like, hey. And then he had his hand behind him like this. And he was like, here, take these. And I'm looking at him like, is this a drug deal? What are we doing here? He gives me these 2 orange pills. He's like, yeah, take those. Take those. I'm like, okay, pop the pills. Like within like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, don't feel a thing. Don't feel a thing. I'm like,
shit.
Okay. So I go back in on the first drive of the third quarter. Hainsworth is like, he's on the verge of wrecking. Our left guard, Vince Manuwai at the time, he was holding him down, but on the first drive, Vince tears his ACL. So our left guard goes out. We lost Brad Meester the week before to a fractured leg that he got during fucking field goal reps in practice. We lost him. So we had a backup center, backup right guard. Then your starting left guard goes down with a torn ACL. So I'm like, wow, whoever has to go over to left guard, good luck. Here comes Tutan Reyes jogging on the field. New York accent. Hey, Uche. I'm like, what up? He's like, move over to the left. I'm like, whoa, what? I'm like, I say, what? He says, hey, don't shoot the messenger. And just looks at me. And I just go over and Khalif Barnes was our left tackle. And Khalif is looking at me like, he's like, yo, it's real over here. It's real. It's Hainsworth and Vanderbosch. And them boys, they both got the red contacts in. They ain't playing no games. Like, you good? I'm like, bruh, why am I on the left side? I have a sprained MCL. Why am I over here? There's a picture of it. Let me pull this picture up to show the audience. Oh my goodness. Let me show y'all something. This was a picture that I look at every time, and I point to it and I tell people that was my welcome to the NFL moment. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Lord, where is it? Oh, the picture is so easy for me to see when I see it. It's like, I think it was my very first picture like that was recorded by a photographer in the NFL.
Oh Lord.
And it was like, wow, what is happening to him? Let me pull it up. You know what? I think it's on. I have it here on my computer. Let me pull it up. This picture is golden. This is like, I'm going to frame this picture one day. I swear.
Oh my God.
Here it is. I'm going to show the audience this. Let me share this. Let's see. Share screen. Boom. This is the picture of me against Albert Hainsworth. Oh, look at you can see my left
even your
brace on. And you can see my face. I'm like, oh
shit. You're literally like trying to be like a grizzly bear. It's like, oh God, you're done.
Oh, that's after he punched me in the chest with his hands. My arms went flailing up in the air.
Jesus.
And I'm just like, my God, this man is massive. And I'm by myself. I don't even have like a center coming to me. It's just
it's a one-on-one with one of the best nose tackles in football at the time.
Oh
yeah, good luck.
And I saw that picture and I was just like, I actually remembered that moment because I was like, he was lined up over the left tackle before the play.
So four tech.
Oh yeah, and Khalif looks at me while we're at the line. He turns and looks at me and says, "Hey, Uche, he coming to you?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's coming to me. He knows I'm hurt. He knows I'm hurt. He lining up over the tackle. Vanderbosch is lined up damn near over the slot, and they're just rushing from wide as hell. And that's what it looked like right there. That was Uche battling his way in. But after about going into my third year, that's kind of when the light clicked and turned on. And I feel like for quarterbacks, that's so important to get that time to understand how the game is played, to see it from the side and be able to process what's going on when watching film. And then, when the time is right, which to me, for a quarterback, especially a top pick quarterback, the time is never right in the first season if you have a different choice, if you have someone you can use. Like, I'm sure Miami was like, look, we're not going to like the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
We're not, if an extraordinary year would be us playing for something in December. So Fitzpatrick is providing you with providing a serviceable job as a quarterback, and he's mentoring Tua. Like, I feel like you need to allow him the respect as a veteran, one, and the time as a teacher and a mentor to show Tua how to play this sport, for an entire season, how to make it through an entire season. Because one of the things that you're not going to hear about is the rookie wall. They hit a wall, and that wall is hit at like week 8. Like, that's when, I remember as a rookie, when I was playing, I wasn't even on the field. I was on special teams, like a couple plays a game. And I mean, by week 8, I was like, when is this shit going to be over? When is it going to be over? I'm ready for this to be done. Like, in college, we got like 2 games left. I was like going stir crazy in my own mind, playing the game, trying to be a professional. Like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't a professional. I was still a college player figuring out what's going on a professional level. And by my my third season, by the end of my second season, I was starting to feel like, okay, I feel like I belong here. Not necessarily that I didn't feel like I belonged, but I felt like I wasn't ready, but I had no choice. There wasn't nobody coming to save my ass. So I had to just go out there and gut it out. I got benched against the Bengals. They were an 0-8 team. Like, it was, rookie struggles, growing pains. I went through that. And, by the end of my third season, I was actively dominating my competition. Like, my third season, I gave up half a sack on the entire season at guard. And, that was on the offensive line that gave up 45 sacks for the year. So, it clicked. The light came on, and I began to see the game move slower. I began to be able to anticipate and see where defenses were trying to to either pressure or manipulate the linemen to react in certain ways. And that's something that you can only really notice once you've had enough time.
That comes with game experience.
Get game experience, but it's hard to go out there as a quarterback. Game experience doesn't really equate the same way, because these guys have to do a lot while they're doing a 5-step drop.
Well, here's what you have to consider. It's like, okay, how many men are rushing towards me? Or what's the secondary? Are they in a zone, a cover 1, a cover 2, a cover 3? Are they doing press coverage? What's my first read? Is he going to be available? What option is he doing? Okay, is he available? What's my second option? Boom. Is it anyone there? Am I having a shot? Okay. And then, okay, what's my check down? Do I have a screen? Do I have a safety valve? Do I have anything else? Do I have to roll out? Do I have to do anything like that? The problem with the NFL nowadays is they are rushing quarterbacks, because what they are realizing is the best chance to win a Super Bowl is in their rookie contract. So they can invest more money in other positions instead of throwing $40-50 million at the quarterback. So they'll risk a Josh Rosen. They'll risk a Dwayne Haskins. They'll risk a Sam Darnold in the off chance that, okay, we're going to get Patrick Mahomes, or we're going to get, I don't know, Justin Herbert. That's what they're hoping for. And the problem is you're going to ruin a ton of these guys. I mean, Dwayne Haskins only started in college. So, yeah. I mean, he's you'll be lucky if you get like a fifth.
Oh, you're muted. You're muted yourself. Either that or you on. There you go.
My bad. As I said, you'll be lucky if you get like a 5th or a 6th round pick for Dwayne Haskins right now.
Oh yeah, he has no value. Being ruined. No value. He's being That's right. And I tell and we talked about it a little bit when we first when we first spoke. Blaine Gabbert is, to me, the perfect example of why you never put a high pick rookie quarterback in his first season to play as you're putting the franchise on him. And Blaine Gabbert's situation is so misunderstood by people, and people piled on this dude. And I felt bad for him, and I tried to defend him as much as I could in the media when we were playing, because this guy was good. When he came into training camp, with 10 days until the season started. And he was, they gave him reps with the first team, just, 2 out of the 5 reps. They let him go in. We had crowd out there. People wanted to see what he could do. And he was dropping dimes on our starting defense. And he didn't even know the playbook. He didn't even know how to call the plays right. And you could see the raw talent. You could see that he had it. And, they started the season, and this was the total fuck job that the Jaguars did. And it's part of why I will always rip them about how they treat their players, because it appears it has not changed. David Garrard was our starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. They announced David Garrard as our starting quarterback at the kickoff luncheon at the Chamber of Commerce in Jacksonville. They announced him as our starting quarterback. They announced all of the starters. He sat in there, ate food with people, talked, shook hands, smiled. This guy was a class act for 2 hours. We're walking out of the building to go back to get on the buses to go back across the street to the facilities, and they pull him to the side. The GM, they pull him to the side and they cut him. Now, I didn't know that they cut him that moment. A lot of guys didn't, but I found out later in the day when it hit the newswire. I was actually out meeting with a charity that I was working with. And we're sitting there talking about the details for the event, and I look up, just out of happenstance, I look up and I see the ESPN bottom line just going by with the breaking news, and I saw Garrard, Jags QB David Garrard, released by the Jaguars, and that was like, it kept running over and over, breaking news, and I'm like, my mouth just dropped open, and the people were like, "Are you listening?" And I'm like, look, and they're like, "Whoa, what happened?" They cut Dave, and everybody kind of freaked out, like, what? They cut Dave?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I mean, I know he was coming off an injury year, but like
he had an injury, right? So this is what it was. He had a back injury, and he was going to need to sit out the season, but he was going to be able to recover, but he just wasn't going to be able to play that season. So Gene Smith, oh my God, any Jaguars fan or Jaguars player who hears the name Gene Smith vomits in their mouth almost instantaneously. I know every time I hear his name, I just shudder, because this guy, I witnessed this guy brick by brick tear a franchise down for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And it was in the prime years that we could have been contenders. We had a team that was on the verge of the playoffs 4 years in a row, playing to get in the last week of the season. That means you have something, you just need a little bit more. And in our situation at that time, we needed some receivers. Dave needed a receiver he could throw to. He was making do with what he had, but you had Reggie Williams, who might as well have been a tight end. You had Matt Jones, who might as well have been a tight end. You had Mercedes Lewis, who might as well have been a tight end. He was a tight end. You had very few in way of deep threats. We didn't have a deep threat. We had our running game and our short passing game, and Dave made it work. And in all the time that we were needing a receiver, they were drafting like Tyson Alualu, a defensive tackle. To me, that was a reach. A guy who was projected second round, going first round, like top 15. Okay.
They fall in love with weird players, man.
The Jaguars fall in love with these players that they think they're picking diamonds in the rough. And, a diamond in the rough is just that. It's a once in a fucking blue moon lifetime player that you pick who with timing and, a little bit of luck turns out to be, the kind of player that you would never expect them to be. And the Jaguars went after that year after year. And Gene Smith, literally, I mean, dude, it was hard to watch because guys like me, Maurice Jones-Drew, Mike Sims-Walker, Daryl Smith, Mike Peterson, Rasheem Mathis, we were all guys who were the core players in our prime. And we're just watching all this talent go out the door. And we're just kind of perplexed. Like, are we trying to win? Are we trying to win? Like, what are we trying to do? And there's such an ego that's associated with the way with the way that a lot of these guys operate, that they're not willing. They want to be seen as that next trendy, innovative executive. And it always it doesn't always, but the majority of the times it's really just not the case. You're going too far into analyzing what is a very simple concept. If you get a football player who's a good football player and understands the game and ask him to look at film on 5 guys, he'll pick 3 of those 5. He can tell you accurately whether or not they can be a good player. Because you can just see if a guy has it. It's something that goes beyond just their measurables. It's just sort of their field personality, I like to call it. Like, a lot of guys' field personality is directly attributed to the way that they play. And you look at a guy like Aaron Donald, that guy plays fast and violent. And you watch how he trains the same way. His entire game is on the field is sculpted around being fast, strong, and aggressive. And you can see that the moment you watch his film. Now, you're not going to find that guy like him. You're not going to find a guy like him just by looking at measurables, just by looking at a guy's speed, by looking at what he does against dummies. That's just doesn't translate. And, it takes time for guys to develop, even if they can be that kind of guy. And I think with Tua, going back into him, I think with Tua, this is a situation where I look at him and I'm like, yeah, he can play. But I think right now, if you put too much pressure on this guy to do something good, I mean, this is not Alabama. This is the NFL. Everybody out there is good, and they don't give a damn that he played in Alabama. They don't give a damn that his hip was damn near broke. Because look what they did to Alex Smith, and that was within 5 minutes of him coming back on the field.
You see Aaron Donald literally piggyback Alex Smith
right on
this day, the play after he comes back.
I'm like, wow. I mean, I kind of thought that players would, and this is, I mean, maybe I was being a little naive, but I was thinking, just because of how I know that players respect each other on the field, because we're all doing what we love to do and we're all the best at what we do. I was thinking that players wouldn't try to decleat him in a way that could potentially, scare, they wanted to let him get a feel for it. I would have thought that some players would have tackled him, but not like piggyback ride him to immediately test every ounce of strength in that leg that has been reconstructed. And I mean, that had to be a scary moment for him. But, again, you put that kind of that's almost for him. I bet for Alex Smith, that was almost like being a rookie again. I feel like with the way he came into the game, you could tell he was playing really fast and really jerky when he came into the game, because he doesn't really know what to expect. Now you put a guy who's a rookie in there, who's had a serious injury, who is really being lifted up as the savior of the franchise without even being out on the field, and now you're gonna give him the reins to the franchise when you're in a position where you're in the thick of it. You're in the thick of competing to be, to be a division winner at the end of the season right now. And they're getting better. I think that they are getting better. So you give him the keys to that. One, you're taking away the energy that Fitzpatrick had given that offense as a player, because he plays very carefree. And you're taking away that energy. You're taking away that leadership. And yeah, I have no doubt that they buy into Tua, but I do believe that it's going to change the pace of that offense. It's going to change the efficiency of that offense for at least 3 to 4 games. to really kind of for it to adjust itself to him and his style, which I think that's a mistake. If you're looking at the bigger picture, it's a mistake. You need to let this guy sit and let him get a full year on the bench. That way there's no concern about his leg. He can mentally approach the game without having to think about that. And he can know that he can be ready to start a full season and know that now it's his turn. And I think that's important for a player to do. Like, just throwing him out there, he's going to be a deer in the headlights somewhat. And I don't think he's going to play terrible. I just feel like he's going to, there will be a point when he'll try to do too much, and that could hurt him.
Yep. You also have to consider too, like when he was at Alabama, he had the best running backs, the best wide receivers. I mean, he was throwing to Jerry Jeudy. He was throwing to like other guys like that. He has the best offensive line in football, top first round picks, NFL pedigree throughout. Now you're going to Miami, you're middle of the road team. You have some pieces. I mean, you have, Devontae Parker wide out. He's really blossomed since Adam Gase was gone. Mike Gesicki's a pretty solid tight end. You have an all right offensive line, but it's nothing like you have in Alabama. And I mean, you have that shit-wrecking Buffalo Bills defense coming in. You have the New England Patriots. You don't know what they're going to do. I mean, you have a bunch of other challenges coming your way. So a guy like Tua, it's
they're trying
really,
to
really risky
to put him in, but it's never a soft spot when it's a rookie quarterback. It's never a soft spot. But I hope that he does well. I really do. I know that there are a lot of people that are paying attention to it. I am, and I think he'll find success, but I think he's going to have his bumps. He's going to have to go through a lot of growing pains, and he'll have to come to a realization that, yeah, you're good, but you still need a team around you. You need a core around you to be able to maximize your potential and their potential. So, we'll see how that plays out. And, speaking of potential, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my God, the Dallas Cowboys. Jesus.
A team that is year in and year out touted by everyone in Texas and Jerry Jones, Father Jerry himself, as the team that's going to win it all. Every year. Dude, I've heard it. I'm from Dallas. I've heard it since 1995, every single year.
And from ESPN and all those too.
Everybody, every media outlet, every analyst, the Cowboys are going to be it's going to be a deep run for Dallas. They're definitely looking at as a contender for the Super Bowl. 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 7-9, 8-8, 7-9. Total underperformance each and every year, and this year, I felt like people gave them that benefit of the doubt again this year. They should dominate the NFC East. And this year, this team is 2-4. They look like shit. Their defense looks like shit. Their offense looks like shit. And we're hearing now that it may have a lot to do with their coaching staff not being the kind of staff that maybe we expected them to be. Some anonymous players or an anonymous player actually came out and voiced that the coaches, in that player's opinion, don't know how to do their jobs and they don't know how to teach. What do you think about that situation as it's kind of unfolding? Because that's a hot mic to drop on the the most covered franchise in the league. I would think that they're probably trying to figure out who that player is right now.
Oh yeah, just watching Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and that would be funny if it was. But I can understand it because I've been, I didn't play a year in Dallas, but I was in Dallas long enough to kind of get a good feel for just the energy of that franchise. And the players, I feel bad for the players on the Cowboys because when I was there, I could see it with my eyes, the kind of pressure that those players are under to be a champion, and nothing less is acceptable. And sometimes you could see it cracking guys. And I was like, I was a little resentful of the coaches there because of that, because I came from a small market team where nobody gave a damn if Jacksonville wins until we win like 6 in a row. Then they care. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares. We're a show me team. Show me you're good because we don't believe you. And the Cowboys are a team that is a gimme team. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt because you're awesome. We think you should be in the run for the championship every year. This team has won like 2 playoff games in the last 25 years.
Something like 3. And I remember like after they beat Seattle, like their entire fan base and the media just like went on a victory parade.
Mm-hmm. As if that Lombardi was already in the back seat. And, I think about what is it that really is the underlying issue. And I think everybody knows it. It's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, the aura of Jerry is always present. It's always present. When I was in Dallas on the practice field, there's this huge tower that sits at the 50-yard line. It looks like a press box at a college stadium. And that's Jerry's off. That's Jerry's spot where he's watching practice. And it's like, feels like the Death Star from Star Wars. Like
it feels like the Tower of Sauron with the one eye just like glaring down. That's what that feels like with the way you're describing it.
Yeah, it's just an aura of pressure and expectations that an owner should never have that kind of influence on the energy of the team. And, I did a little write-up on Reddit about that because to me, it was so obvious for anybody who played on a different team that didn't, that wasn't a team that had that kind of coverage and then went to a team like Dallas. I mean, and from what I hear from players I know, that's like one of the only places it's like that in the NFL, where it's like deafening, like suffocating pressure. Mm-hmm. And the fan base, the coaches, the owner, everybody around those players is applying pressure to those players, whether they know it or not, because they expect it to be a championship pedigree every year, year in and year out.
That's how it feels like with like a team from New York. That media is relentless up there, and people crack.
People crack. Yeah, people crack, and I really doubted that Mike McCarthy was going to change anything about the Cowboys when they said they were going to hire him, because Mike McCarthy is really Jason Garrett just 2.0 when it comes to dealing with a personality like Jerry Jones. When I think of coaches that could handle that and probably could control their team just in spite of Jerry Jones or just despite Jerry Jones, I think of guys like Mike Tomlin. I think that's the kind of coach that could go into Dallas and he has control of that team. And that would be, he would set the culture for the team, not Jerry.
Yeah. And they tried that with Bill Parcells, but that was like an older Bill Parcells.
Yeah, that was an older, tired, trying to find out how to adjust to this newer age of football that he was in, where players had a voice. Mm-hmm. and it wasn't, the iron fist like it had been in the 80s. Yeah. And even with that, him and Jerry, from what I hear, they butted heads all the time. So
wouldn't shock me. I mean, Bill Parcells usually had a good deal of team control when he was in New York, New England, anywhere else. And it would be like bringing back like a Chuck Noll or a Bud Grant back in these modern days. It's like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it would take a coach of substantial pedigree like a John Gruden who could go in there and really affect the culture there. But Mike McCarthy fell into a great Green Bay Packers team with a superstar level Aaron Rodgers, who who knew it was his time and he took advantage of it. But you could tell from the years following that there was a slow decline because he just doesn't listening to him talk. And I don't know him. I've never really been around him at all, but listening to a coach talk, you can kind of feel where they kind of come from with their perspective. And Mike McCarthy, I just really feel he feels like he should be a manager at Home Depot. He doesn't. That's just the feeling I get from him when I hear him talk. Now they always say he's this brilliant analytical head coach.
They've been saying that, but like, what analytics is he really bringing to Dallas? Like, the only thing that's changed is they're going for it on fourth down.
Yeah, they're going for it on fourth and whatever. They don't care.
Yeah, it's like fourth and down on the 30. It's like, what analytics say that's good there in the first quarter? It's like, okay, that analytics?
I mean, it's crazy to me because, we had, when I was in Jacksonville, we had Jack Del Rio. Jack Del Rio was highly respected by the players because he played the game for a long time. But not only that, he was highly respected because he understood what the game does to the players over time, and that players will need, their coach to look out for them in times where there is more need for recovery, in times where there's less need for physicality on the field. The players coach, what you see with Pete Carroll up in Seattle, what you're seeing with guys like what's his name out in LA?
Sean McVay.
They're that hybrid coach that is well received by the players because he understands where they need leeway and when they need to turn it up. And Del Rio was one of those early age of coaches like that in this newer era of football. And he understood that, and that's why, for me, when I heard he was in Washington, I was like, oh, hell yeah, Jack's going to be just fine. Everywhere Jack goes, I think players like him because he really does have an understanding and a relatability to players because of his history with football and his respect for it and his respect for the players. And he doesn't look at it like rocket science. He looks at it like this is a man's sport. This is football. And at the end of the day, it comes down to which man is willing to do what it takes and willing to, fight through their adversity and the struggle to do their job the best way they can in the most consistent way possible. And, that's it. Other than that, you're thinking too much.
I think analytics can play a role in the NFL. Like, I think it offers a different perspective and a look than like film can, but it shouldn't be the be all and end all. I think a blend is the best way to do it because analytics can't really look into situations of, player morale or like drive, aggressive physicality. Like, it can't really look into that sort of stuff. That's that soft stuff that analytics overlooks, even like a baseball situation where analytics is extremely heavy. It doesn't take into effect like any of those like soft elements that you can't really like calibrate per se.
There's some things you can't calculate the heart of a player.
Oh yeah, you can't calculate that. You can't calculate drive. You can't really calculate physical strength, torque, physics.
IQ, because IQ is fluid. Like it's better as you get more experience, but there's always new wrinkles.
Total mistake on another play.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we used to joke about it in the O-line room because you'll see, once in a blue moon, a vet will just completely whiff on a block, and you'll be like, and you'll see the look on the film when you miss, and you're like looking back, like, throw it. I had one of those literally in a game where I turned around. Oh man, I can't remember who was it that got it. Was Jarrell Casey. This was the first time I played him. I think it was his rookie year. And, I had figured him out and was just holding him, just snatching him up a little bit. And I kind of relaxed just a little bit because I was like, I got him. I think I got him figured out. And he hit me with this mean hand swipe. And I mean, I'm glad I never found a picture of this online because my arms were like this and I was leaning forward. I was like, holy shit. And I turned around and he was running beeline for Dave. And Dave was like, and I'm like, throw it! And he just threw that thing straight out of bounds, like high as he could. He was like, good job, Uche. Good look. I'm like, yeah, my bad. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to. He's like, man, I'm glad he said, because he would, and players do that. I mean, quarterbacks will sometimes jokingly be like, hey, if you could beat that bad, man, you better say something. So as soon as I felt my shoulders just miss Jarrell, didn't even touch him. I was like, throw the ball. And he got it out of there. But those are the little things in football, man. Those are the little things. So you're a Pittsburgh fan.
Yeah.
Big Pittsburgh fan. Them boys are undefeated. that's I'm not totally surprised, but I
it's been a somewhat soft schedule. Like this was their first true test with Cleveland.
Yeah.
I honestly expected Cleveland to win. They were looking pretty good there for a hot minute. But like that game, like I was watching it with my brother. Like, he played D3 in college as an O-lineman, but they got like smashed. And it was just absolute domination.
Yeah.
Like they were getting fooled on play actions, pass reads. James Conner could literally just waltz everywhere, not feel a thing. Chase Claypool went carte blanche on that defense. Like it was bad. Baker Mayfield was getting wrecked. And he was already dealing with an injury, and he was just like getting destroyed.
He was getting destroyed, man. I was very fascinated with how the game would play out once I knew that their center wasn't going to be playing. Teller wasn't going to be playing.
Teller's on IR.
And Nick Chubb wasn't going to be playing. Yeah. I was like, well, they still got Kareem Hunt, serviceable running back, can be explosive at times. But it's going to come down to how is their O-line going to play, because Pittsburgh has one of those defensive lines that they're not like, I don't look at them as like the elite level. They don't have like an elite level pass rusher, but they have constant push. They constantly push. They constantly push offensive lines. And it's because they usually have a little bit bigger, a little bit stockier D linemen, but these guys got bounce to them, and they got hip explosions. So they do
get into it, or solid.
They get solid push, solid. And eventually Pittsburgh always brings some. Pittsburgh probably was the best blitzing defense that I played against, in my career. They always have good blitzes. They always have well-timed blitzes. They blitz to the right offensive play, and it's something that
LeBeau was a mastermind behind that.
Oh, dude, I was on your Discord yesterday explaining one of the blitzes that Pittsburgh actually created in 2009, I believe, and it was like the blitz that every other defense started using around the NFL.
The cross blitz, right?
The gut X. We called it the gut X, where you got two linebackers, because you got four linebackers. The way we would call it is we call Will linebacker, Mike linebacker, Jack linebacker, Sam linebacker, then the 3D linemen. So regardless of how they line up, we'll either make it 4 down linemen, or we'll make 2 linebacker calls. And they would do this blitz, and we watched it on film wreck every offense it went against. They just ran the linebackers right at the center, and they crossed.
Yeah, because the center doesn't know who to block, and then he has to block either one of them, or he tries to block both and fails.
Yeah.
And like if he blocks one, you need a halfback or somebody behind to block the other lineman, and that's a crapshoot in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So the only way you can really do it is maybe with like a pulling tight end or a pulling tackle.
Well, the way that you block that is you have to, because the defensive lineman will rail outward, which is just as good. Which is a similar kind of rail out in their pass rush that you would see on a blitz. Like if a blitz is coming from the right, the left side moves away from it so that it has a gap to run through. So both sides, because both your D tackles are lined up wide on the guards, they would rush wide to the tackles, and the ends would rush wide on the tackles to try and kind of work that loop, to work on the hoop to get the quarterback at the furthest, at his deepest depth. And O-lines would just open up because of that. So that's how they would get those linebackers to confuse the center. So what you got to do is you have to slide your line one way once you recognize it. And the giveaway for the Steelers when they were doing that was Troy Polamalu would float back to the middle of the field over the top, because he has to play that middle third, because there's nobody. The middle of the field is going to be wide open.
Yeah, you have to do like a short pass up the middle, or maybe like the quarterback steps up and tries to sneak. That's the only way you can really beat it.
So we would slide our line to pick it up, and it works, because you pick up both the linebackers. Those are the most important ones. You can let one defensive end come free on the edge. He's rushing wide anyways. It's going to take him a second to get back into a pass lane that can affect the quarterback immediately.
Yeah. Plus, the quarterback can just roll out if he needs.
Yeah, and then the quarterback knows where his free guy's coming from, so he can move away from it and still, get a pass off. But for like that entire season, we would like watch the film, and we would see them on games against other teams we would be playing, and we'd be like, oh my God, look at that Pittsburgh defense. Look at what they're doing. They're just running right through these cats.
Yeah.
But
there's one thing that I've been blessed with watching as a Steeler fan. We've had some incredible defenses in the 90s and 2000s. They were like a linebacker academy.
Oh yeah. It was like the den of linebackers. Like, top linebackers, always solid secondary, but the linebacking core was the heart of it. Yeah. And then, of course, the offense was, smash mouth, downhill offense. When Big Ben came in, it became more – they spread it out, but they still were pounding for a good while.
We got Bettis, Willie Parker, Mendenhall, although he had some fumbling issues. But, like, they always had strong offensive lines. Well, except for a couple of years in the late 2000s. Like, it was pretty bad back then. But, I mean –
Max Starks was one of my homeboys.
He was pretty good.
That dude won every year. He got franchise tagged 5 years, like 4 or 5 years in a row. And would just sit the bench until the playoffs. Then he'd be starting in the playoffs. And I'm like, Max, what are you doing over there? How are you getting them kind of deals? He's like, it's the Pittsburgh way, man. That's how we do. They take care of their players. I'm like, all right. Maybe one day in Jax, one day.
Yeah, you need the right culture. I don't know if they're doing it with Shah Khan, but
oh my gosh, let's not even get into that. I already ran about that earlier today.
I do not blame you on that, man.
So trade deadline's coming up. What do you think? Who do you think?
I honestly don't know. Like, everyone keeps saying that, like, the trade deadline's going to be like this big event where a lot of stuff happens. But, like, last year we only had Aqib Talib get traded in a salary dump to Miami. So I really don't know. You might get one of the younger quarterbacks traded. Like, there's rumors about Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. Like, I don't know if they ever trade them. If they're going to do anything, it'll probably be the offseason.
Yeah.
But
I don't. Maybe Matt Ryan. I'm not so sure about Julio. Julio is still.
Julio's still elite. That would be a mistake unless you're getting like a first round pick for him, which I don't know at his age. But
only thing that you got to worry about with him right now is that hamstring, whether or not that's going to hold up in the years to come. But I don't see Julio getting traded. I think that, there might be some moves at the running back position just because a couple of teams that are trying to, kind of stay in that competitive zone, they need a running back. Like Le'Veon Bell to Kansas City to me made no sense whatsoever. If I was a team like Buffalo, that would have been somebody I would have been going after, knowing that he was on the market.
I think they were trying. I think it was like Kansas City or Miami were the final ones. And the thing with Le'Veon is, here's his situation. He's getting paid $2.5 million in a bonus forced by the Jets. He's still getting $6 million guaranteed from them. So he can pretty much take a league minimum anywhere and just ring chase if he wants.
Oh, he's going to get that's called the double dip.
Yep. Plus also what he's going to do is he's going to try and rebound his stock so he can get another decent contract. Maybe he's not going to get $15 million per year, but he can probably get maybe Melvin Gordon money, $8-9 million a year, somewhere along the line.
Yeah. Derrick Henry. Obviously. I think Derrick Henry, honestly, I think he's the best player in the NFL.
He is a fucking beast. I love watching that man run. He literally just takes the souls out of players by ramming them. I think Josh Norman's soul is still somewhere in the middle of Buffalo Stadium. It's just oh my God, that dude's dead. You just saw a player's career just vanish in the span of an eye. Dear God, this man had to play for Washington. He suffered enough. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
He was a good player.
He was one
of the best man corners in Carolina.
I know Josh. I'm cool with Josh. And me and him would text back and forth, and I would just I'm not going to talk about football because, you got
imagine his phone after that. He'd probably have 90 messages of just him getting straight dunked on by players and friends and family.
The memes they created off of that stiff arm.
Yeah, dear God.
Man, that's rough.
Him using Earl Thomas as a fullback.
Oh my goodness! It was ugly. It was really ugly. But aside from that, dude, Tennessee is they're doing it their way. I didn't expect them to be this. I didn't expect them to be this good.
I had this weird feeling in the beginning of the year that they just were punching above their weight last year.
Yes.
It would still be around 9-7. They'd still be okay, but I didn't think they'd be this good. And I mean, losing Taylor Lewan is a hard blow for their line.
Yeah.
But
he's the heart of the line.
blindside guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough loss, but even then, I think they should still be clicking.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they do it very simplistic. It's a very simplistic offense. They're running at you. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, once you think you're starting to dial in on it, well, we're just going to play action. We got a 6'3", 240-pound receiver out there who looks like a damn linebacker, jumps like a deer. Well, we'll just throw it to him. He'll catch it. So it's really they're quietly the most dynamic offense in the NFL that nobody's talking about. Outside of obviously Derrick Henry being beast mode 2020. I really think that those guys are. I could see them as a dark horse for the Super Bowl this year if they continue to play like that.
The way I see it is this matchup against Pittsburgh is going to be really huge for both. I think the winner will become a Super Bowl contender. The loser will stay in like that,
The loser's going to be in the hunt.
That's going to be the proving game for both teams. And both are hurting. I mean, the Steelers just lost their defensive general in Devin Bush, which is another.
Oh, yeah, that's a big loss. That's a big loss.
I mean, I'm sitting there like, okay, maybe it's an ankle injury. Maybe it's a high ankle sprain. He'll be out for like a month. But like, torn ACL. It's like,
done. Nah, that's rough.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. He was doing well.
It's been a crazy year for injuries, dude. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's like saying like, oh my God, it's like not doing a preseason and going right into game mode is a terrible idea. Plus, you're dealing with like players that are bigger, stronger, faster, more agile than ever before. Guess what? You can't develop bones, joints, and ligaments.
Those stay the same.
Bones, joints, and ligaments.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you don't get in the game, you're cold. You're more likely to just get injuries.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. I used to. Players have always talked about how little we like the preseason, but we do understand the importance of it in getting ready to play at full speed once week one comes because. You could see it. I mean, week 1 and week 2 in the NFL, it was
sloppy.
Sloppy play and bodies just drop.
Week 2 was the most injuries I had ever seen. Dear God.
Guys were just
dropping like flies. It was like baseball with the pitchers. Like they were dropping like flies because they weren't able to warm up their elbows and shoulders and get up to pitching speed. There's only so much a long toss and just general pitching can do. Nothing can prep you for game speed.
Yeah, you have to
simulate. That's why you're going to get more injuries.
Yeah, man. No, you're 100% correct on that. I agree with you. It's that's just how it is. But just to kind of wrap this up, man, tell me what's your game day ritual, man? What do you got any? I know you're a Pittsburgh fan. You have to have a
game day ritual. It's I've been more like getting more into this. I've been more of a macro fan. Like I'll watch like Steeler football, but for the most part, I'm putting on Red Zone.
So you can see everything.
Oh yeah.
See everything.
Like sure. I'll follow the Steelers easily, but yeah, it's definitely Red Zone for like 7 hours.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. No, I'm kind of the same way. The team that I actually give a damn about ain't doing a damn thing. So I just watch every team and I like watching players. So I'm more of a player fan than I am necessarily just a team fan. So for me, I can definitely understand that.
Just curious, who'd you end up who'd you grow up rooting for?
Okay, so I grew up. My first introduction to football, I was a 49ers fan through and through, all the way up through middle school. Then I became a Bucs fan. I was a huge fan of Warren Sapp.
Those defenses were fucking amazing.
Warren Sapp, Eric Brooks, John Lynch, all those guys. Rondé Barber.
Simeon Rice.
Dude, I played against Derek Brooks his last year in Tampa, my rookie year in the NFL. And I was so starstruck. After our preseason game, I ran over to him like, hey, Mr. Brooks, I'm a huge fan. I was watching you guys when you won the Super Bowl in 2002. That's my favorite team growing up. Can I get a picture, please? And he's just being humble and nice, like, yeah. And I was just like, that was a moment where I was like, I was watching this guy when I was a kid When I was in 7th grade, I was watching this guy, and now here he is, Junior Seau, the same way. I was just like, unbelievable. But Tampa was my team all the way, through college. Once I got into college, once I was playing in college, I kind of like started getting a bigger appreciation for the Cowboys because I was from Dallas. Something about hometown pride, but I never, my parents were Cowboys fans. My family was Cowboys fans. I hated the Cowboys growing up. So they would tease me when the Cowboys would repeatedly beat the 49ers in the NFC title game year in and year out. So, I had to deal with that. But those are my teams. And now, again, I have an appreciation for the Bucks. I love that they went back to their original uniforms.
The creamsicle unis.
Well, not the creamsicles, the pewter and gold, or the pewter and red. When they went to, those are their first modern jerseys, right?
Oh, like the rebrand. Yeah, those were some good jerseys.
Yeah. So those, when they went back to that style this year, I was excited. I hate Tom Brady, but I was excited because I was like, that's the Tampa Bay I know. Not that whatever the hell they were wearing last year, which was garbage, those off red.
I'm so glad more people are trying to go into the retro style, because if you look back at like the late 90s, early 2000s, like most of their logos, they have not aged well.
No, yeah, you're right.
Like they're just like, they look ugly, or they're trying way too hard to be in your face and aggressive.
In your face, edgy, yeah. Like those weird 49er uniforms that they went to after they won the Super Bowl, where the gold was kind of a little bit darker and the numbers on their uniforms were all sparkly and shit. It was, you're okay, but I didn't really like it. I would have rather they just would have wore their 75th anniversary uniforms that they won the Super Bowl with. Those to me were
were some nice unis.
Those were nice. And now they kind of went back to that. So that's good there. But everybody who's here in the audience, appreciate you guys for being here. We're wrapping it up. I mean, we've been going for about an hour and some change. I'm sure you need to get back to doing some work on some videos that you got, man. But everybody, Urinating Tree, I really appreciate you for being here today, man. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the channel. I'm looking forward to the next video dropping. It doesn't even matter what sport it is. I watch it because that epic voice, his voice is epic, and he has amazing little jabs that he
dude, you're flattering me. Come on.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, man, I'm being honest. I really do enjoy it. But hey, man, I really appreciate you being on with me. And, anytime you want to come back on.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
And look forward to talking again, dude. But appreciate everybody for being here on the podcast. That's going to be it for today. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to the Observant Lineman if you haven't already done so. And we will catch you guys all on the next one. Peace.
Peace out, man.